Hello guys, today I'm going to review the game Rime, which is being released or which is going to be released or which is released on the platform Windows, PS4, Xbox One and which is released on 26th May 2017. Coming by the review, the game starts with a young child washed up on a beach. In a tattered red cloak surveys the world around them. A bright and sunny island greets them and their focus is inexplicably drawn to a lost tower in the center. This is where stylist Rhyme starts, and without saying a word you set off to explore the unfamiliar yet not threatening surroundings. Rhyme immediately asks a series of questions that incite a search for answers. What is this island? What is the power? Who is this child in the red cloak? On why were they lying face down on the beach? Those answers are discovered and yet throughout Rhyme nary a word is spoken. Rhyme's story is presented simply and effectively, using visual clues to fuel the search for answers and to encourage an emotional connections with the narrative. It's paced in such a way that it never feels like there are long, dull stretches without intrigue. The pseudo-open world has a variety of nooks and crannies begging for exploration, and certain elements in the environment won't become clear until a second playthrough. Changes to the settings are frequent as you solve puzzles and move forward, keeping a particular level of curiosity piqued while also being central to the theme that each sections of Rhyme delivers. Even if it's not apparent while playing, the ending makes everything clear and made me immediately want to replay. Not only to discover additional secrets hidden on the island, but to also make the journey with full understanding of the messages that was being delivered. One of the biggest problems of the game that try to establish an emotional connection is that gameplay often suffers at an expense of trying too hard to make the player feel something. Puzzles feeling like an afterthought instead of ingrained into it, the world and story. Ryan manages to avoid this common trap, largely environmental in nature, and the puzzles always feel like a proper part of the world rather than an added layer on the top to give is a gamer something to do. Figuring out how to navigate the island is the puzzle. It's not entirely an open world, but it never feels like it is obviously guiding you down on a specific path, letting you explore each area at your leisure. The puzzles consist of mixture of exploration, figuring out what you need to do to move forward. One puzzle has a rolling a ball that changes the time of the day, lining up shadows to open the path forward. Others have you figuring out how to navigate a series of ruins in order to get to a small statue. Yet another segment has you avoiding being outside, seeing cover from mean bird-like creatures. The puzzles never reached a point of being mind-breaking and difficult. But there were some fun ones that gave me pause as I thought up their solutions as much as I would. Some fun ones have liked the puzzles to test my mind a bit more. Rhyme isn't designed to be a difficult puzzle game. It's centered on a deeply emotional story it has to tell, and frustrating puzzles would get in a way of delivering its message effectively. Emotional beauty. Yeah. Rhyme feels like a mix between something like a journey of Legend of Zelda Wind Maker and a Funto Ida, the Last Guardian, Shadow of Colossus game like that. It's an artistic, stunning, striking a painterly look that avoids coming across as a cheap visual trick. A progressive day-night cycle actually changes the color palette of the world. Moving through the Rhine brings different environments that are designed to evoke different emotions. The pacing always managed to bring a fresh elements to the visuals or puzzles that ensure Rhyme never got boring. I always remained engaged in the silent narrative and the world and the beautiful world. Which is key to making the emotional connections that they want to make and to bring more than a tear or two before the end. There are some performance issues I encountered that it did start. Frame rate would periodically stutter and dip at a noticeable levels, something that did end up detracting from the visual wonder Ryan is otherwise it's good. Running can feel all a little bit slowly, particularly when going off to explore far corners of each area. Getting back to the intended park can feel like a bit of a chore because there's no run button that allows for faster environmental traversal. It's not as bad something like everybody's gone to Rapture, but it tends to demotivate from exploring to find the little collectibles that help to enhance the story. It would be a crime to talk about Rime without taking the time to mention the soundtrack. The music of a rhyme is a tying thread that binds the bright visuals and the deep themes together. The rhyme, form, and spelling soundtrack becomes the word in the wordless game, helping to tell the story to the players by creating a deep connection through every note. Through every bit of the rhyme, accent, pacing, the soundtrack is there to provide a foundation backing for the feeling it is trying to deliver. Rhyme is a game about loss. Rhyme is a game about grief. Rhyme is a game that I am not ashamed to say that made me sad. It's a beautiful journey and doesn't seek to simply entertain, but rather to touch the player's soul on a deeply emotional level through engagement and interaction. On the surface, Rime is a great-looking adventure full of puzzles set in a mysterious era and living environment. As its core, Rime is something so much more. By being the stunning art and engaging gameplay with a beautifully emotional narrative, Rime blurs the line between touching the heart and entertaining the player in a way that few games have truly achieved. Stay tuned for more reviews and stuff.